Today I'm making some kimchi, some fermented vegetables, very rich in probiotics. So it's mainly vegetables, some spices, root vegetables mainly, and then you blend it all up together, cut it down as chunky or as small as you like, and you make a pickle and then leave it to ferment, usually with sea salts or some fermenting culture. So today I've got all kinds of spices on the table, and you can basically make it your own. You need a good jar with a seal. So I have spicy scotch bonnet, crushed chili, already diced, cut down some celery. I have the Chinese pak choy and tender stem broccoli, lots and lots of carrots, some red onions, and the kale. Beautiful. And I'm going to include some turmeric and ginger, which aren't usually included, but I'm going to make this into two different variations so I can use them alongside my salad. Just add it to food, either cold or mainly cold, or add them as a side dish to hot dinners, and put them alongside some soup as well without warming them through. So this is it. And I just want to showcase all the spices. I also have cinnamon here as well, which I love so much. And I have miso paste, which is also already a probiotic product, and a bit of soy sauce to give it that edge, the Asian twists. So you don't have to add any of this. You can just use sea salts and maybe a tiny bit of a cake if you like a cake, but we love cakes in this family. So I'm going to make one very mild and the other one with lots of cake, or I may just take the lots of cake out and make that separate in another jar. So here we have it all ready to go. So if you really want to know about making your own probiotic fermented vegetables, or you can call it pickles, or basically what I'm doing today is called kimchi, a Korean or Japanese or Chinese culture fermented vegetable, and otherwise known as sauerkraut in the European sphere. However, whatever you put in yours will make it into what it is. Sauerkraut, it's quite plain, whereas your kimchi is very pungent and strong, and maybe more yummier and depth of flavor compared to sauerkraut. So keep watching. I shall see you soon. Hopefully you see me doing the process, taking you through the process. And if you already know how to do this, that's great, and give us more tips from what you've done in the past. Thank you guys. See you soon. So the next stage on making the kimchi is to prep the vegetables. And I have all these vegetables here, as already been said, some kale, and I've added some spring onions as well to the mix, some broccoli, and a little bit of Chinese pak choy, and lots of carrots. So I'm going to start off by cutting off the ends of the vegetables and taking the dirty bits off and just giving them a good rinse. So I'm going to keep this and stick it in the soil. Hopefully this is going to germinate and start off another vegetable in the veggie patch. Okay, so one of the things about the making of the kimchi is to make it into whatever size you want. It doesn't have to be very small, it doesn't have to be too big. Like for instance, I've already cut the celery up. So that is just about very small 2 centimeter diced. And traditionally Chinese people will have the leaves very big, so I'm not going to leave them quite large because all of these are going to wilt down anyway. So but I want to remain the crunch, I want to keep the crunch in the vegetable. Look at this. Isn't nature beautiful? Look at that rosette. Oh, good catch. Look at the rosette of the ends of the pak choy. I love this. I'm going to keep this for a super duper garnish dinner tonight. So let's just cut down, and again, in fact, you don't need a knife. You can just tear it off like that, throw it in the bowl so you can rinse it off. A quick rinse. It seems like this pak choy, this particular pak choy, is very clean. So, and it's worth saying that all these vegetables are all basically organic. Okay, so if you are not very skilled at knife, grab hold of your pair of scissors and just go down like that, cut it and just trim it down. So but I'm going to use a knife because that will be faster for me. And take the rubber band off and just cut it down so quick, and we can throw it in all in. Again, is another knife, but you have to see which one does what in each category of vegetable. But this is my best knife, almost like a bread knife. Is serrated, it doesn't need sharpening and can cut through anything. Just be mindful of the fingers. Okay, so there we go. In goes. All right, and put them all in. And the next, we can use the rest of the spring onion as well. And there, I had 2 bunches. I'm using the ends into propagating another round of spring onion in my veggie patch. So they are already germinating. Just cut the ends of this new batch. Otherwise, you can put it all in, just cut the roots off. And also, I'm doing the same thing with the carrots. I'm cutting the ends of the carrots. This might not work with carrots. Don't know why I'm doubting it. But it's working with the other vegetables. I have celery as well, leek as well, and the spring onion germinating from the roots that I cut off. So yeah, there we go. And I think we leave these 2 in the bowl. Oh wow, this is so weird. This looks so weird. I feel like I'm going to leave these out. Okay, I'm weird. Right, so we got the ends of the carrots. I'm going to cut this one first before the carrots, and just the tender stem of broccoli. I just cut them down into 2. Between yesterday and today, half of these vegetables have already gone with the last night's afternoon lunch, and also this morning brunch or breakfast. So basically, if you eat a lot of vegetables, it doesn't take time to eat them all up. Okay, so the end of the kale is coming off, and I also have some rainbow Swiss chard in my veggie trough. I was going to use them as well, but I think I'm going to leave them for fresh stir frying. I just use this for the kimchi. Okay, so just cut the ends off and off and off. Last one remaining. Okay, so let's take that brown bit off. We don't like that. It goes, and these 2 together off. Okay, so that in there. And also I'm going to do the kale separate, because sometimes kale might need more washing than the rest of them. So I'm going to wash this like, you know, before I cut them, because it's easier to just splash the water through them in the tap or in the bowl. Okay, so let's put kale aside, and those are the main prep on the kale. Just basically need tearing into two. And the carrots, again, you can leave them in chunky bits, and that's what I wanted for the carrots, chunky bits, you know, not too fine, but you can make yours anyhow, because I want to be able to just take a few chunks of carrots, even from the kimchi or the pickle, and just eat them as snacks as well, you know. So we just go down like that. Doesn't need splitting into two, or you can shred them up, put them in your food processor and shred them up. Okay, you know, I just want this one to be chunky. So the carrots and the celery, they basically can go with salad as well, straight from the kimchi from the jar. Put them on my salad with some olives, give them a bit of a tang. There we go. And again, as I said, you can just use your potato peeler and just peel the carrots down, all the way down, you know, for an effect to mix them with the green leaves. Very chunky. And I love these carrots. They're very refreshing, not too sweet. Okay, so all carrots are done. And I love to use the onions in the kimchi. So let's try this. And again, chunky, not too fine. That's what we are aiming for. I don't want it to get lost in the whole bunch of vegetable. I want to see the onions in there. Chunky bits of onions. Okay, there we go. So there, and there, all done. This one doesn't need washing up or anything. Just put them in like that. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to use one more instead of three, because I've reduced. Oops, that one is gone off. Very soft on one side. Okay, let's see if we have some that is good in there. Okay, that's not bad. That's still beautiful in there. And these are all organic as well. There we go. So I'm going to leave this. This is fine actually. Right, now other things that I have in here. I have turmeric, which doesn't normally go with the kimchi, but I'm putting some anti-inflammatory into this mix. So hopefully ginger and turmeric, and I'm not going to peel them. I'm just going to cut them down roughly so I can throw them into the mix. Okay, so I'll sometimes use this in my hot drinks, and of course you can also use the capsule, turmeric capsule. Open it up and empty the capsule, empty the turmeric out the capsule, and put it in whatever you want, your drink, your stir fry, you know, marinate your curry. And make sure there is a bit of pepper whenever you use turmeric, because the pepper helps in the absorption of the curcumin, which is the active ingredient in your turmeric. So if you buy a pack of turmeric and it doesn't have pepper black pepper, cayenne pepper, or some kind of pepper, make sure you put a pinch of pepper into whatever it is that you're making the turmeric with. Okay, so hopefully this sitting in the pickle or in the kimchi, the liquid, this is going to sip into the liquid and add more nutrition into what we are making. And I might just take some of these out and blend them up and add them into the end of the curry. You are making a curry that needs turmeric and ginger. Okay, so this is all chopped down roughly. There's about, if not more than a cup in there. Let's see, ginger and turmeric, almost 1 level cup basically, but there is no need for measurement for this. This is only pickles. You can add as much or as less ingredients as you want. You can put spinach, you can put any other vegetables that you desire. Okay, so that is the prep stage finished of making the kimchi. Now we go to the actual making of the kimchi, and if you notice, I have an array of ingredients here. So I'm going to wash these vegetables first and then bring you back to the camera. So for the kimchi, all the vegetables are prepped. Now we need to assemble it and do the processing. So some of the vegetables here all washed and shaken down. Some carrots, the the onions and the celery in here, spring onion with the green leaves, and I've got the turmeric and the ginger all chopped down, roughly chopped. So, and I have Scotch bonnet pepper there to give it a good kick. Now, so what we need, I'm going to use there are two different methods to make your vegetables ferment. You can either use pure salt, sea salt basically, or some culture, basically like starter culture that you use in sourdough, but not the same culture. This is for vegetables. I have a packet there. So I'm just going to use one of these culture, 2 grams, to ferment 5 pounds of vegetables. So I'm going to mix the two. I'm going to use both of them. In the past, I've used sea salt on its own to do fermentation. So what the instruction of this recommends is this. Okay, but again, just to recap, you can use any other spices that you want, any type of vegetables you want. What you want to achieve is a good fermentation over 7 days to 10 days, 7 to 10 days. I'm not going to let mine stay for too long. I don't want it to tangy. For a member of the family doesn't like things too tangy. Okay, so for this particular measurement that we're using, 5 pounds of vegetable, you have 3 tablespoonfuls of salt. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and 2 cups of non-chlorinated water, filter tap, basically filtered water. Okay, so that's 1. Okay, and 2, and this is just cold water. It doesn't need to be hot. So mix together very well as the instruction says, and let it dissolve very nicely, because these are like crystals on the sea salts. They're not fine. So basically we have that, and the starter culture, I'm using 1 sachet and mixing it with 1 cup of water. So I'm going to open this up now, pour it in the glass and fill it up. Cold water as well. It's not like the yeast when it needs to be tepid or anything like that. Okay, so there we go. Some fluid into this. 1 cup. There we go. Here. So we mix this up and we mix that up as well. I'm going to use a small teaspoon since this is a small container. Just mixing. This is already basically like fine granules. So this one is almost totally dissolved. So let's move to the next stage. So the vegetables are going to go in this big pan. Okay, all of the vegetables. So I'm going to put one at a time. But before that, I'm going to use some of these onion blended for my seasoning. Okay, there. And a bit of this is just my own way. Basically, I'm just putting some of these vegetables to blend with other things that I'm doing, that I'm using. So 2 Scotch bonnet pepper into there. I can put more, but I don't want it to be too spicy. I want everybody to be able to enjoy this. So put all your vegetables together. The carrots, okay, and this is the bulk of the vegetables: pak choy, spring onion, tender stem of broccoli, kale. Okay, I said pak choy already. The Chinese vegetables, basically. So there we go. And what I could have done is leave some spring onion to blend with that, but it's already mixed, so I'm going to leave it in here. Okay, so what we need to do next, let me just wipe this, just tidy up as I go along. There we go. There. Okay. There. Okay, so now this, pour it on the vegetable and pour that on the vegetable as well. Okay, over here. Okay, so let me use a more solid spoon. So make sure you mix them all up. I should go and wear a pair of gloves and get my hands in, So that's what you're supposed to do. Mix thoroughly to ensure even distribution. And then you add all your herbs and spices and things. So that's the next stage now. So I'm going to blend this. Okay, so the spices I'm going to use for this, those peppers, onions, and a bit of the celery. Okay, now I'm not going to blend the ginger and garlic. I'm just going to add it in. Turmeric and the ginger. Just adding it in for extra nutrients, anti-inflammatory basically. Okay, so making sure the liquid is coating the vegetables in the pan, evenly distributed. Okay, and there you go. You can, fold it in more if you like. So I'm just going to blend these up now. So all blended. Now I'm going to pour this in here and add more seasoning and spices to coat. Okay. Right, so there we go. I'm using some miso paste in this. I just love miso so much. So let's just a couple of tablespoonful. You can add it to your own taste. And you don't have to put miso paste if you don't like it. Or anything at all. Okay, so a little bit of soy sauce. It's about 1 spoonful garlic granules. Another 1 spoonful to your taste, and ginger also to your tastes. And something else I've used a lot of these days is cinnamon. Not too, oh, that's sweet, that's nice. It's beautiful. Okay, so let's put the lid back on. I'm going to add a little bit of the chili flakes into this to give it some pizzazz. Not just for the cake, because I already got 2 Scotch bonnet pepper in there. I can add more, but we don't want it to be too spicy for the family. Okay, so I'm going to mix this all up. I'm going to get a pair of gloves on for the proper mixing. One moment. Okay. So gloves, you can double up the gloves, especially because, oops, look at that, just ripped one. Just because of the chili in there, or the Scotch bonnet, you don't want it to get into your fingers, so yeah. So if you double it up, you won't rips, and then you'll be fine with the other. However, I think I'll be fine with just 1 layer of gloves. Okay, so if you have a slightly wider pan, I think that would be ideal. Wider pan, so all of this can be evenly layered out. I'm going to get a pan that is wide. So this is just to demonstrate that a wider pan would be ideal for this task. Now I'm going to pour all of these in here, in there. Look at the amount of vegetables in there. Okay, so the wider the pan, the better, the easier the job. Okay, so let's move these out the way. Now we got the vegetables in here. Give them a good bath, good massage, and let's put the seasonings in. You can add your seasoning dry if you like. Okay, you can add them dry. Okay, so mix, mix, mix. Just be careful you don't splash it in your eyes because of the chili and the spices. The smell of the miso, that is amazing. If there's any other spice that you like, just add it. No hard and fast rule to this game. Okay, so once you've done all of this, what you then need to do is to grab your jar. So I'm going to wash my hands first before I grab the jar. Okay. Right, so jar number 1. There we go. So you begin to load this into the jar. So I'm going to put this in another bowl. Okay, so maybe not too much at a time so you don't lose it. Okay, now all of this seasoning are very edible. So, but we're going to wait for this to ferment before we eat it. Okay, so you see, press down, shake together, and getting rid of all hair pockets. You don't want any hair to be in between the vegetables. Push it down, push it. Right, so all the vegetables already in the jar. There is one jar, and there are other jars. I've decided to put some in smaller jars so I can gift them to friends and family. Okay, so I've recycled all these jars from other produce or products, and I've put just carrots in here. All of this is carrots, and everything else is mixed vegetables. So what we now need to do, after you've pushed them down very nicely, now let me show you. If you have one of these in the house, you might be wondering what this is. It's only an African home that you will get this. Well, you could have it even if you're not African. You can find this in the shops, but typically this will be used to pound yam in an African home, or spices or some other things. This basically is a Ghanaian kitchen tool, rapporteur. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you don't have one of those, you can use this, especially if your jars are very small. So because this is quite large, and I found that ordinary wooden spoon doesn't do justice. Okay, so let's have a go. I've used this in the past. I've used this rapporteur, this exact same one before in the past. Look at that, because you want the liquid to come all the way to the top and the vegetables to be submerged underneath. That's what you need. Okay, so if this vegetable is too much, you make sure you take some out, so that when you press all the way down, can you see that you got liquid on top and all of your vegetables, you know. Yeah, let's push that down. That's good. Getting rid of all the hair pockets, so your vegetables are all under the liquid. Okay, before you put the seal on and keep it away, and put it in a nice and warm room where this will keep on fermenting. Temperature of about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, let's put more into this, and here, if you need to take some out, feel free. Take some liquid out of one into another, especially if you have more than one jar, as I have here. So I'm going to use this rolling pin to push down the smaller ones. Okay, and it is recommended that you leave about 2 inches at the top. You know, leave a bit of space. Don't fill it all the way to the top, because this is going to start expanding. You know, lots of activities going to be going on in that jar during the fermentation. So if you want it to keep fermenting, you can leave it for a week or up to 10 days or even more. extra days after the 10th day. You can have a taste after a week or even less. If you begin to see bubbles out of the jar, then you know that something is happening. Okay, so I'm going to take some of this liquid to fill this up. All right, so everyone gets liquid equally. This is sea salt. You can basically dissolve more sea salt if you need to. If you don't have enough liquid on top of your pickle or kimchi. Okay, so there we go. Okay. There. Get rid of all the air pockets and then seal it. A jar with a good seal. Okay, so I'm going to do this one more time before. Oh, it's overfilled. The liquid is coming up, straight up. Let's get some out into here. And another spoonful out. Okay, so push down. I can't even push it down. It's full already. Look at that. Oh gosh, this is amazing. Okay, and that also is full. So once I take this out, obviously it leaves the space, and that is just perfect. Okay, and another push with the little jars. Right. There we go. So I'm going to put the jars on them now, one at a time. So all of these jars have been recycled, washed, and clean. So I'm going to share this with my friends and family. Okay, so and that's all set. Leaving them in a nice warm space in the kitchen where the miracle of fermentation can begin to take place. I'm going to leave these in a tray. I'm going to put a tray here and sit them in a tray in case anything is bubbling out, so it doesn't go all over the kitchen counter. Right, so we've come to the end of my kimchi making today. Again, I've used some of my own ideas and spices. If you know the principle of fermentation, just use it. And though kimchi is a Korean or Japanese culture or food culture, I haven't used any Korean chili here. I've only used the Scotch bonnet pepper, which I love. Okay, and look at that. And I've added also miso pastes and ginger, garlic, cinnamon, and what else did I put? Yeah, those three. Oh, and a little bit of soy sauce in mine. So there you have it. I hope you enjoy a few weeks of probiotics once you've put about an hour's job or work or effort into making your kimchi. Your tummy, your family, your gut health, microbiome, we thank you. So thank you so much for watching my kimchi making process today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave us a comment down below and let us know if you have any ideas of your own, and please let me know and show us. Go make your own and show us afterwards. Thank you. Have a blessed evening. Mwah. Goodbye.